Potter Chord members who have volunteered and auditioned to be different roles for our screenplay of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This is our 5th out of 6 audio plays to complete this screenplay. And joining us today, we have a very, very talented cast of people. Let me introduce you to who is going to be playing what role today. We have 9 very talented people, and I'm so glad that they could all be here to bring this to life for us today. So let me go ahead and give you a little rundown. Playing Harry Potter, we have Jax. Big round of applause. For Ron Weasley, we have Lamis. Playing not Harry Granger. I'm pretty sure it's Hermione Granger. Hermione and Peeves, we have Silver, aka Haya. Hagrid will be played by Saturn. Mcgonagall and Neville Longbottom will be played by CalaMari. Snape will be played by Haya. Filch and Draco Malfoy will be played by Shreya, aka Morgan Stark. Fred and George Weasley will be played by BookWorm. And Firenze will be played by Finn. So a big round of applause for our very, very talented cast. We're so glad to have them. And so over the course of the last week, they've worked together to practice their roles, and it's a really fun bonding experience. So if you have not been a part of the audio plays, I definitely recommend, if you're interested moving forward, to definitely audition, because it's a lot of fun, and you get to work on something that brought all of us to the server in the first place, because we all have a love of the Harry Potter fandom. So where we left off last chapter, if you guys remember, we had everybody in Hagrid's hut watching the hatching of Norbert. And lo and behold, looking through the window was Draco Malfoy. So now Malfoy gets to join his classmates in detention. So without further ado, we present to you Chapter 5 of our audio play of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. As Harry, Ron, and Hermione eat breakfast, the hourglasses tell the tale. Gryffindor has slipped to last place. Just then, Fred and George pass by.
Don't worry, you three. This'll all blow over. It may take a year or two, but eventually people will start talking to you again.
Well, I for one see nothing wrong with a reduced social life. It'll give us more time to rest for finals.
Why bother? Even with Malfoy losing points, Slytherin's a lock for the House Cup. And look, Malfoy knows it. All 3 peer at Malfoy. He raises a goblet in their direction and cackles with Crabbe and Goyle.
He won't be smiling tonight. Haven't you heard? For detention, they're taking us into the dark forest.
That night, beneath a pale moon, Filch, carrying a lantern, leads Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Malfoy across the dark grounds.
A pity they let the old punishments die. Was it time detention would find you all hanging by your thumbs in the dungeons?
As Filch and the others reach the yard, they find Hagrid stringing a crossbow, Fang by his side.
Sorry like this, Hagrid. I pity you.
Filch squints and sees tears running down Hagrid's face.
Good God, man! You're not still on about that bloody dragon, are you?
Norbert's gone. Dumbledore sent him off to Romania to live in a colony.
Well, that's good, isn't it? He'll be with his own kind. Better all around, don't you think? Especially for Fang.
Hearing his name, a singed Fang beats his poor bandaged tail.
But what if Norbert doesn't like Romania? What if the other dragons are mean to him? He's only a baby after all.
A baby that breathes fire.
Harry elbows Ron, silencing him.
For God's sake, pull yourselves together, man. You're going into the forest after all. Got to have your wits about you. The forest? But I thought that was just a joke. We can't go into the forest. Students aren't allowed, and there's
Oh!
werewolves. Oh, there is more than werewolves in those trees, lad. You can be sure of that.
Harry and the others trail Hagrid down a skinny path through the dark trees. Hagrid turns to Harry and speaks low.
Sorry about this, Harry. No, it's me that deserves punishing, not you. But all right, I shall be sitting in a sail and ask about tonight.
It's all right, Hagrid. Besides, it's not your fault we were out after hours. If we hadn't come knocking on your door in the middle of the night...
Abruptly, Hagrid kneels and takes something onto his fingers.
What's that?
The reason we are here. All right now, listen up. See this here?
Hagrid holds up his fingers, and they're marked with something silver.
It's unicorn blood. I found one dead a few weeks back, until before that first term. This one here has been hurt by some. It's our job to find the poor thing. Only one way to get that done, and that's to split into two parties. Ron, Hermione, you'll come with me. Harry, you'll go with Malfoy.
I want Fang then.
Fine, but just so you know, he's a bloody coward.
Fang trots down the path ahead of Harry, while a nervous Malfoy trails behind.
Wait till my father hears about this. This is the servant stuff. We should be writing lines or something.
If I didn't know better, Draco, I'd say you were scared.
You're too stupid to be scared, Potter. Growing up with muggles, if you were from a real wizard family, you wouldn't be laughing.
I'm not, believe me.
As Malfoy joins Harry, he stops dead. The trees ahead are striped violently with dripping silver, and beyond, lying in a small clearing, is the broken body of a poor unicorn. Fang backs off, and something primal is in his eyes. Harry watches him, reading his fear. Then a slithering sound appears. Seconds later, a hooded figure slithers over the leaves, drops its head over the leering wound on the unicorn's side, and begins to drink its blood.
Ah!
Malfoy bolts, slipping and sliding as Fang whimpers after him. Harry winces, clutching his scar, and then sees what the hooded figure is staring directly at him, silver dribbling down its front. Woozy from pain, Harry staggers back and then falls, the slithering sound drawing closer when hooves suddenly pummel the path behind him, and something leaps clear over him, flickering past the moon above. It charges the hooded figure, driving it back into the trees. A shadow falls across Harry's face. This is a centaur, with eyes like pale...
Harry Potter, you are known to many creatures here. You must leave. The forest is not safe at this time, especially for you.
What was that thing you saved me from?
Only one who has nothing to lose would commit such a crime. It is a monstrous thing to slay a unicorn. The blood of a unicorn will keep you alive, even if you are an inch from death. But at a terrible price. You have slain something so pure that, from the moment the blood touches your lips, you will have a half-life, a cursed life.
But who would choose such a life?
Can you think of no one?
Do you mean to say that thing that killed the unicorn, that was drinking its blood, that was Voldemort?
Do you know what is hidden in the school at this very moment, Mr. Potter?
The Sorcerer's Stone.
A commotion is heard as Hagrid and the others come slashing through the trees. As Harry reacts, the others break into the clearing.
Harry!
Oh, it's you, is it, Firenze? I see you've met Mr. Potter. All right there, Harry?
Harry nods, but he looks anything but all right. Back in the common room, Harry paces before the fire while Ron and Hermione watch.
You mean, he knows who's out there right now? The forest?
But he's weak. He's living off the unicorns. Don't you see? We had it wrong. Snape doesn't want the stone for himself. He wants the stone for Voldemort. With the elixir of life, Voldemort will be strong again. He'll come back.
If he comes back, you don't think he'd try to kill you, do you?
I think if he'd had the chance, he might have tried to kill me tonight.
Ron looks vaguely sick.
To think I've been worrying about my potions final.
No, we're forgetting one thing. Because the one wizard Voldemort always feared. Dumbledore. As long as Dumbledore's around, you're safe, Harry. As long as Dumbledore's around, you can't be touched.
The students flock onto the sunny grounds the next day, finished with their exams.
I'd always heard Hogwarts interview exams were frightful, but I found that rather enjoyable. Weren't you stunned not to be asked about Alfred the Eager?
I'm stunned my head didn't explode. Alright there, Harry?
My scar keeps burning.
It's happened before.
Not like this.
Harry glances across the grounds at Hagrid, sitting in his front garden playing a flute. At his feet, Fang's eyes droop.
No.
Harry?
Harry starts across the grounds. Hermione and Ron glance at one another, then rush after him.
Don't you think it's a bit odd that what Hagrid wants more than anything is a dragon, and a stranger turns up who just so happens to have one? I mean, how many people wander around with dragon eggs in their pockets? Why didn't I see it before?
Hagrid, being interrogated, shrugs and goes on polishing the flute in his hand.
Never saw his face. Get the suit up.
Didn't that strike you as unusual?
You meet a lot of unusual types in the village. I ain't exactly usual myself.
This stranger, though, you and he must have talked.
He asked what I did, the sort of creatures I look after. Told him after Fluffy, dragon would be easy.
And did he seem interested in Fluffy?
Well, yeah. How many three-headed dogs do you meet, even if you're in the trade? So I tell them, the stranger, the trick with any beast is to know what calms him. Take Fluffy, for example. Just play him a bit of music, and he'll go straight off to sleep.
Hagrid stops, horrified by his slip.
I shouldn't have told you that. Forget I said that. Hey, where you going? Hey!
Harry, Ron, and Hermione clang through the door of Professor McGonagall's office, and she looks up.
We have to see Professor Dumbledore immediately.
I see. Well, I'm afraid Professor Dumbledore is not here. Only moments ago he received an urgent owl from the Ministry of Magic and flew off to London.
He's gone now? But this is important. It's about the Sorcerer's Stone.
Professor McGonagall nearly drops the books in her hands.
How do you know?
Someone's going to try and steal it.
Nonsense! I don't know how you three found out about the stone, but I assure you it is well protected. Now, run along.
Harry leads the others down the corridor out of her office.
That was no stranger Hagrid met in the village. It was Snape, which means he knows how to get past Fluffy.
And with Dumbledore gone...
Good afternoon.
They freeze. Up ahead, Snape stands, studying them.
Now what would three fine Gryffindors such as yourselves be doing inside on such a lovely day?
We were just...
You'd want to be careful. People will think you're up to something.
Snape eyes Harry, then turns away.
What do we do now?
Go through the trapdoor. Tonight.
That night, in the dark, empty common room, two doors ease open. Hermione slips out of the girls' dormitory, Harry and Ron out of the boys'. They creep toward the pink lady when... Croak. They freeze and look and breathe a sigh of relief.
Trevor.
Trevor the Toad blinks up at them. Croak.
Trevor! Trevor! Shh! Go! You shouldn't be here.
Neither should you.
They all jump. Neville rises from an armchair.
You're sneaking out again, aren't you?
Now, Neville, listen.
No, I won't let you. You'll get Gryffindor in trouble again. I'll fight you. You're the ones who told me I had to stand up to people.
People, not us.
Neville raises his fists. Unfortunately, his teddy bear pajamas somewhat undermine the intended effect.
Neville, I'm really, really sorry about this. Petrificus totalis.
Instantly, Neville's arms and legs snap to his sides. He sways and then falls flat, only his eyes moving, staring up at them in horror. Harry and Ron look a little horrified, too.
A little scary sometimes, you know that? Brilliant, but scary.
They run down a corridor when suddenly, up ahead, Peeves rounds the corner, mumbling to himself as he juggles a trio of apples. Suddenly, Peeves stops, eyes narrowing suspiciously.
Who's there? Know you're there, even if I can't see you. Are you gooey or ghosty? Or wee student beastie?
Nothing. Peeves smiles slyly, reaches back, and hurls one of the apples. It streaks through the air, then disappears in mid-flight. Peeves' smile fades.
Never mind.
He backpedals frantically, turns, and swoops off the way he came. Seconds later, Harry drops the cloak and tosses the apple in his hand to Ron.
That was close.
Harry steps to the chamber before them. Inside, the thrum of music can be heard. Slowly, Harry starts to ease open the door when crunch! Hermione and Harry jump and turn. Ron stands chewing the apple.
Alright. I'm hungry or I'm nervous.
Harry pushes the door clear and finds a giant quivering nose and yellow fangs dripping with saliva. They gasp and then
Wait a minute, he's
Snoring.
Harry pushes the door further and the light from the corridor falls on a tiny harp playing by itself. As they enter, Harry takes the flute Hagrid made him from his pocket.
Suppose we won't be needing this now. Look, it's obvious Snape's already got past Fluffy. If you two want to go back...
Don't be stupid.
We're coming.
Right then, all together now.
Straining mightily, they put their shoulders to the massive paw that lays across the trap door. Once done, Harry flings it open, and below lies only darkness, a faint whistling wind.
I'll go first. Don't follow until I give you a sign. If something bad happens, get yourselves out. Does it seem a bit quiet to you?
The harp. What happened to the...
Splat! Something wet and sticky hits Ron's shoulder.
Yuck! What's this wet stuff?
Slowly, they all look up. A monstrous, drooling shadow darkens their faces. Fluffy is awake and hungry. Each head ponders its own particular snack. Then, with a mighty growl, swoops. Instantly, the trio pitch themselves into the darkness below. Harry plummets down a glittering shaft, tumbling head over heels, down, 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 until, flump, he lands in something soft and yarn-like, followed quickly by Ron and Hermione. Harry adjusts his glasses and looks up. A tiny square of light, the trap door, glimmers far above them.
That was... well, I guess.
We must be miles under the school.
Okay, this plan things here, really.
Whoa!
A vine snakes around out behind Ron's back collar.
Whoa!
Twin creepers encircle Harry's chest.
Stop moving, both of you. This is Devil's Snare. You have to relax.
Hermione, it's a bit difficult to relax, given the circumstances.
I know, Harry, but you must. If you don't, it'll only kill you faster.
Kill us faster? Oh, now I can relax.
As they watch, Hermione takes a long, slow breath and is sucked beneath the surface, vanishing.
Hermione!
Panicking, Harry and Ron begin to struggle anew, but the vines only wrap more tightly around them.
What are we gonna do?
Just relax.
Hermione, where?
Do what I say.
Harry looks at Ron. He's almost completely entwined.
I suggest we do what she says.
Harry takes a deep breath and closes his eyes. Slowly, like witches' fingers, the vines draw him beneath their surface. He drops through the ceiling, twisting through the webby undergrowth of Devil Snare, and onto the ground next to Hermione. From above, Ron can be heard screaming for help.
He's not relaxing, is he?
Ron's voice bellows again.
Apparently not.
Hermione furrows her brow, thinking aloud in a sing-song voice.
Devil snare, that's in the dark, delights in the damp.
Ron, wrapped tight as a mummy by this point, cocks his ear in disbelief.
Is she doing a poem? It's not possible she's doing a poem, is it?
Hermione ignores him and continues in deep concentration.
It's deadly fun, but we'll sulk in the sun. That's it. Light. Devil snare hates the light.
She whips out her wand, points it at the vines hanging from the ceiling, and sends forth a bright burst of gold. As the light burns through them, the plant withers, an opening forms, and the vines snap free of Ron and drop him through below. He lands heavily and looks up.
Lucky we didn't panic.
Lucky Hermione pays attention to herbology.
Just then, they detect a sound. A rustling, a clinking. The three exchange a glance and begin to descend the staircase.
What is that?
I don't know. Sounds like wings?
Harry, Hermione, and Ron enter a brilliantly lit chamber where hundreds of jewel-bright birds flutter below a high arching ceiling. In the opposite side is a heavy wooden door, and floating in the middle of the chamber, a single broomstick. Ron and Hermione begin to cross to the door, gazing in wonder at the strangely beautiful creatures overhead.
Curious. I've never seen birds like these.
They're not birds.
And this completes chapter 5 of our audio play. A huge round of applause to all of our actors, please.